Welcome to the On-Air series for the 2022 Heritage Month. The Heritage Month is dedicated to learning more about our country, living and loving Ghana. We have many different aspects of this month. This week we'll be talking about the places in Ghana. We'll be talking about interesting historical sites, but for this particular show, places of interest that you should visit as a tourist, whether you're a domestic tourist or a foreign tourist. As somebody says, the world is a book and he reads only the introduction who doesn't travel. We hope by the end of the conversation your appetite will be whet enough to not just read the introduction but read the whole book through to the conclusion. I have a very interesting panel to help me do justice to this conversation. I have Steve Ababu, who's a filmmaker, he's a photographer, videographer and a world traveler. Steve, great to have you.
Thank you, Bernard. Great to be here.
Did I describe you correctly? World traveler.
I like to focus more on Africa and Ghana. So
Fantastic.
world traveler, yeah, but more Afrocentric than
I like that.
global.
We also have Gina Arthur. Gina is an events planner and she's also a photographer. Very interested in travel as well. Gina, good to have you. How are you doing?
Thank you. I'm good.
Fantastic. So how many? Okay, when did you develop an interest in traveling around Ghana?
When did I develop an interest? I've always, ever since I can remember. I mean, as a child, my father used to travel around the country a lot, and we used to go with him every vacation. So it's something that I guess I grew up with.
But we know you more for your videography and your photography. At what point did that become a key part of your itinerary? Not just traveling for traveling's sake, but actually capturing and telling stories with the places you go to.
I would say that really that the seed for that, I guess, was planted in 2004, 2005, thereabouts. I was living in the US at the time. I had to come down for my sibling's wedding, and in the process, I felt, I mean, when you're outside for a while, when you come back, you see things with you see them differently with new eyes. So I took the opportunity to do a little bit of travel, and then I guess I got bitten that this thing, I need to do more of it.
Which is interesting. So you were born here, but having left, coming back, absence make the heart grow fonder.
I believe so, yeah.
I guess, Gina, yours has been more recent. Your relationship with Ghana, your love affair with the places in Ghana. When did that start?
Okay, so I did travel within the country a bit, but in 2020, actually, when the pandemic started and all that, that's when I started traveling a bit more locally. Just visiting places, you know. You after the lockdown, you realize you realize something.
Even coming out is
it's
a blessing.
A blessing. And so that's when I started doing this more. And then I met Steve, and then we started to work on things together.
So you're an amateur photographer.
Yes, I am.
We'll come to all of that, Steve. So I want you to help me today do two things. We want to do a virtual tour of Ghana. This conversation will do a western leg of the tour.
Yeah.
And then maybe subsequently we'll do an eastern leg of the tour. So assuming I want to enjoy the whole of Ghana, but I've split Ghana into two. I want to leave Accra and move westwards.
Yes.
All right. Even in Accra, where would you? So I'm in Adabraka.
Yeah.
Where should I go to before I leave Accra to the central region? Give me 2 or 3 places I definitely have to see.
Oh, you definitely have to see the Osu Castle, Christiansborg Castle. That's important. And what I've realized that there's so many galleries that are popping up in Accra that are very, very interesting and are giving exposure to a wide range of artists. So that's another thing to look at doing, explore the art scene in Accra. In fact, you will notice that something started at a certain point where they were putting murals on the interchange.
Yes.
I don't know why it stopped, because I always say that culturally relevant cities always have something about them. You know, Paris has the Eiffel Tower, you know, London has Big Ben, New York has the Chrysler Building. They used to have the Twin Towers, now it's one, and so on and so forth. The thing that Accra would have been, you know, every single interchange having an interesting mural, because we have so many brilliant and talented artists around. So that would be something that sets Accra.
So Accra's
apart.
art scene is interesting.
It's very vibrant.
And places within the Accra enclave will give you a good arts experience.
Absolutely.
What about in terms of historical? So basically the Christiansborg Castle, clearly.
Historical also because, but you see that's the thing. Accra sits at a certain point along the historical narrative.
Yes.
Accra didn't used to be the capital.
Yes.
Capital was elsewhere before it was brought to Accra. So there's a whole story around how the capital came to be in Accra, Accra's position in colonialism and the slave trade and so on and so forth. There's so much to dig up and encounter.
But did you do any, because when you do photography, typically you want to go far away from Accra because you want to see more trees. Accra isn't blessed with so many trees. Were there any places of interest within this region that you found was good for your practice?
In Accra?
Yes.
I think to add to what he said before I come to that, sometimes we focus on the Christiansborg Castle and forget about the forts too that are the forts around it.
Okay.
So there's the Usher Fort and the
Fort.
James Fort. So those were also
gave.
those were interesting to shoot and to just explore because the history is all connected. Okay, and another nice place of interest is that the Independence Square.
Yeah.
People like to take photos there, so that's a good place to start as well. So for me, those were places that
Steve, would you advise anybody to climb the lighthouse?
The Jamestown
Yes.
Lighthouse. Absolutely. I mean, the Jamestown Lighthouse is actually tame compared to some of the other places.
There's
that
one I
we
went
climb.
on in Way.
Yes.
It was the scariest because the Jamestown Lighthouse, you climb from inside.
Inside.
So you don't feel how high you are. This one is full metal and you are outside. By the time you get to the third or fourth rig, it's really serious.
Yeah.
Interesting. So it looks like Accra has the history, it has a lot of the artsy scenes. Central region, most people will talk about Kakum and then the castles. But in terms of beautiful places to go to, where in the central region caught your attention in your travels?
Oh, so many different places. I mean, because for me, the central region doesn't start from Cape Coast. It starts from Kaswa.
Oh,
So you travel through Kaswa. What I have found really interesting is to make that detour towards Gomafete.
okay.
Some of the most incredible beaches in this country can be found in Gomafete. Then there's also a fort at Senya Breku, which is also in that area, Fort Good Hope.
Okay.
So the history also continues there. So you leave that area, come back on the road, continue down. Then there's Winneba. Winneba also has its own history, has its own set of stories and experiences that you can discover.
But I thought Senya Breku had more rocks than
Senya Breku does have rocks, but it also does have
beaches as well.
beach stretches.
So from Fete, Senya Breku, Winneba, all nice places to see.
All nice places.
Before we get to Cape Coast proper.
Even long before that.
Apam.
Long before that.
Because from Winneba you do what?
Apam.
Apam.
Yeah,
But in
okay.
between Winneba and Apam is also a series of very interesting beaches that are open.
Wow.
Some resorts there that you could visit, and so then Apam you get to. There's another fort at Apam, Fort Patience, I believe. So then from Apam, of course, you get to let's say you skip everything and go to Mankesim. Mankesim is also a whole different vibe on it. So if you get to Mankesim on market day, it's a total experience. If you are in traffic, you will not be happy. But if you are on foot, wandering around, I think it's a very, very culturally unique thing to.
What did you find fascinating about the central region?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I was eager to chip in something, and I think one thing we should be proud of as Ghanaian is the farmers markets that we have, because in other places you have one day for farmers market, so you can get to the fresh things and the fresh goods on specific days. But looking around us from Accra down, in fact the whole of the country, you have farmers bring their goods on different days, and every day of the week you can go to the farmers market and get something for. So I find it interesting, even from Makola to Abobloshi. Those are places we don't even consider to be tourist attractions, but they can also be promoted as tourist attractions. And
What were
that's
the
interesting.
roads like in the central region? I remember I went to a place between Winneba and Apam. I love the place, but the drive was a bit of a problem because if I didn't have a big car, it would have. I mean, when you get there, awesome, but getting there is an adventure. I don't know what experiences you had traveling just in that side.
I think in other countries they call that the road is a massage road. By the time you get to your destination, you have gotten a very good massage. Yeah, it's an issue.
Yeah,
it is an issue with a lot of access roads to some of the most beautiful places. Of course, the good thing is that by the time you get there, when you get there and you see the place, it kind of washes away the sins of the road for you, because like it was all worth it. So that kind of helps. But then you still have to leave and come on that road to go back to where you came from. So yeah, it is an issue that we need to probably, you know.
But I'm hearing a lot about beaches and water. But for somebody who's interested, say, in flora and fauna, will the central region have anything for them? Or there are regions with better track record of that? Probably Kakum?
Yeah, I think even Kakum, you have to go at a certain time. So now they are providing camping sites. They have these tall tree houses where you can camp and see the animals at night.
Okay.
And that's just because it's a reserve. But across our country, we've eaten all the animals in the but we've eaten all. You go to the remotest place, and the luckiest you come to seeing an animal will be maybe a dead snake on the road, which is very sad.
So in Kakum, I thought there was some great birds in Kakum. I thought when you were on, I thought Kakum had some serious stuff.
They do, but that's what I'm saying, because it is a reserve. You are lucky to see them, and even that you have to make an appointment for a specific time.
So you have to probably sleep over,
and then see them at night. Yes.
But what animals would you see? Do you know?
A deer. I think they have deers.
It's not deer. Antelopes. Yeah, you get antelopes, and they have. They're supposed to have bush elephants, which are
bush elephants.
They are smaller than
the normal elephants.
The normal elephants, because they live in the forest.
I've come there, but I never saw them.
They say they have them, and they have the skulls and so on and so forth in the museum that they have there.
So Kakum is a reserve, so that means that you can't tamper with it too much.
No, you can't. Truly, it's something that, for example, I've been on the road before. I've literally stopped because I saw boys by the roadside, selling animals. The guys were literally selling a zoo. They had they had pangolin, they had porcupine, they had antelope.
Is this in the central
region? They had
region?
grass cutter. This wasn't in the central. In the central region, you see grass cutter mostly. But the interesting thing is that you can just drive around Ghana. You hardly ever will see an animal crossing the road. It's as though the animals know that where the human beings pass, go far away from there, because you are likely to lose your life. And I don't know if it has to do with maybe it's poverty, so everything we see, we want to eat.
Everything's eatable.
Exactly.
But so Kakum will obviously be the place to go in the central region if you are into flora and fauna.
Yes.
But for the beaches, all the way to Cape Coast, Elmina as well. What's Elmina seems to have a strong place in our history as a historical place. Is there anything fun there to see?
Yes, there's. If you are somebody who is interested in salt preparation or making, there are those factories that you can see. Now I see a group of young people doing the boat rides. So if you went there, you could go on a boat ride. Also, the fishing harbor is it's an attraction for some people. So the fishing harbor is good to see.
Have you seen the regatta? I remember the first time I went to Elmina, they were doing a boat race.
Yes.
It was so fascinating. Never seen anything like that in my life. I don't know imagine if you had a drone and there was a line and you were sort of deciding who's going to win 100 furlongs or whatever.
Yeah.
That would be quite something, wouldn't it?
The regatta is really interesting. I mean,
the festival.
The first time I shot it before.
Oh, you shot the regatta?
I shot it before drones were a thing. So
how did you do that? You went to stand on the bridge house?
Yeah, by the side then, by the water side, basically trying
to
capture.
So you're shooting it laterally?
Yes, laterally, pretty much. And I thought that the whole dramatization of things, I mean, is really,
Really powerful.
really interesting. What I would like to see happen to maybe help that is probably find a way to dredge the lagoon so that it's a bit deeper.
So that it-
They're
yes,
doing
it's
that.
very.
They're working
clearer,
on
and
that.
They're working on that.
So I'll ask you this question for every region. What was the most fascinating thing you recommend in the central region? If I have only one place to go in the central region, for you personally,
Elmina.
Elmina,
Yeah.
Elmina, putting everything together.
Putting everything together. I mean, because I mean, even just staying in Elmina, getting up in the morning and walking through Elmina, you know, walking along the main road, walking down into the town, up Chapel Hill, you know, seeing all the statues, the view, then coming down, going up past the Dutch Cemetery, then going up to Fort St. Jago, then coming down to St. George's Castle. Elmina
has everything.
Is rich.
Would you say the same?
I have a bias already. I'm from there. So
You have- oh,
yes.
you're from Elmina?
Yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
I would definitely recommend. And aside that, do you know you can actually take a tour in the city? So
Okay.
seeing the different Dutch buildings,
Yeah, and then the Asaf
in
buildings.
in the community, because aside the castle being there, you know, the soldiers in the slavery time had buildings in the city, in and
you
around.
could tell the difference.
Yes, you can
You can
definitely tell the difference, and you can take a tour.
So there
you know,
is
yes.
is there a museum in Elmina?
Yes, there is Java Museum.
Java Museum.
Yes,
And then there's a museum in the Elmina
in the castle too.
There's a museum in the castle. You haven't said anything about Cape Coast Castle.
So Cape Coast is also another interesting city.
Yeah.
It's also very interesting. I mean, Cape Coast Castle is great. They have a beautiful museum. But what I find fascinating about Cape Coast is that there are other forts in Cape Coast that get very little attention.
Example.
True.
Example, Fort William, and then Fort Victoria.
Fort William.
Yes, and Fort Victoria.
Where are they? So if I stand at Cape Coast Castle, where is Fort William?
So Fort William will be almost directly behind Cape Coast Castle.
Okay.
Yeah.
And Fort Victoria is kind of if you are standing behind Cape Coast Castle, it's to the left. But if you are standing in the castle, there's actually a direct line of sight from the castle to Fort Victoria, because I think it was used to signal if there were enemies approaching and so on and so forth. So you can see both from the castle.
This is the Heritage Month on Air series, and we are talking about places to visit. Don't forget that the first week also has our Heritage Caravan, which incidentally is going along the same route that we are going along. We started in the central region, in fact, Greater Accra region. My guest, Steve Ababio, a world traveler, filmmaker, videographer, photographer, and Gina Arthur, who's an up-and-coming photographer, but she's also an event organizer. By all means, visit the central region, Elmina for sure. When we come back, we'll talk about the western region, which is a region I'm looking forward to going to. What can we find there? We'll also do a few of the other regions, Savannah region, Upper West. What are the interesting things to see? We'll be right back. Welcome back. This is the Heritage Month on Air series. It's on City Breakfast Show and on Breakfast Daily on City TV. My name is Bernard Avele. This week we're talking about places to go. My guest, Steve Ababio, a world traveler and filmmaker. I also have Gina Arthur, who's more interested in the event side of things and photography as well. So if you wanted to visit the central region, they've given us a quick overview of what to find. Western region is the next place we'll go to. So Steve, I recall asking you on radio a few days ago, which region fascinated you the most? And Western was in your top 2.
Yeah.
Give me your Western region pitch again. What is it about Western region that makes you so fascinated about the region?
I think the first thing that fascinates me about the Western region is the number of rivers that course through and enter the sea. That's number one for me, because as soon as you hit Biposo and you cross the river there, then you know that, yeah, you've actually arrived. So Western region, and there's something about it seems so lush and green.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you enter Sekondi Takoradi, you get that feeling of greenness and
It's a fresh region.
vibrant.
Fresh.
Yeah, it has that, that's something
Yeah.
about it. You know, so even the capital city, Takoradi has it. And when you go out, you get it. You get that vibe even more. It's very green. It's it sparkles in a way, So driving along, there's so much to see. Once you cross the bridge, even before you get to Takoradi, if you make a detour left to Shama, a little fishing town. Again, me in particular, I'm biased because I tend to be driven. I want to see the forts. I want to see the old buildings. So Shama has one. That's what took me there.
So Shama, if you're driving from Elmina, do you get to Shama before you get to Sekondi?
Yes.
So Shama is the first place you meet, but you make a right.
A left.
You make a left.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it's going towards the sea.
It's going towards the sea.
Is there a difference between Sekondi and Takoradi in terms of the way it looks and feels? Can you tell that?
Yeah.
In my head, Sekondi seems a bit older.
Yes.
And Takoradi is more modern. So the architecture, you can feel Sekondi is.
Yes.
Exactly.
There is exactly
Yeah.
that. And then also there's the whole vibe of Sekondi seems to be more fishing
Fisher folk.
oriented,
Yeah.
more fisher folk, more by the
Hasn't
sea.
been touched by too much distraction
Yes.
Exactly. So you will get that vibe clearly.
in Sekondi.
Yeah, that in second, and I think there are fewer trees along the coast in Sekondi than there are in
Almost
Takoradi.
Yeah. So obviously Sekondi before Takoradi. But in terms of the beaches, let's talk about beaches in the Western region. There are two people who say the Western region has some of the best beaches. Is this something you guys saw in your travels?
I agree.
Absolutely.
Totally.
They have some of the best beaches.
They do. It's calmer. It's almost flat all throughout. You can take long walks. If
Long
you're
walks on
at
the beach.
long walk, you can take your runs, morning runs. If you're looking at relaxing, it's definitely the place to be. And another thing I like about the Western region is the people. They are chill. If you are a fun-loving person who's like chill, laid back, nothing to worry about, that's the place
will
to
help
go.
you.
They will help you.
They will help you chop your money.
Yes, if you bring the money in town, we are there to help you. That's one thing about Western region. I love it.
How is the weather? So for example, if you came to Ghana from Europe, there are places which are very hot. I guess because of the trees, Western region is very humid. How is it?
The trees help.
Yeah.
I find the weather to be absolutely fine, especially in the Buzwa area. It's a bit hilly, so you have the sea breeze, giving you some cool vibes, and the trees are also breaking. Generally speaking, it's almost as if there's a series of hills that jut in at certain
It's
intervals.
almost like
It's
nature is
interesting.
intervening.
It's
Yeah.
intervening
So you don't have too
in a
much
way.
monotony.
Exactly. And then also what it does is that if you have something jutting in here and another thing jutting in there, in between you have this beautiful stretch of clean beach, because some of those promontories kind of block the rubbish from moving in a certain direction. So the beaches are clean, they're beautiful. It's just a different feeling.
You've
completely.
mentioned Buzua. Is Biriwa also in the Western region? Biriwa Beach.
Biriwa is in the central
Biriwa is
region.
in the central region.
Yeah.
Is Buzua Beach the beach of? Is this the best beach in the Western region? Or you don't have that?
No, I won't
you don't have that rubric.
I won't say that. It's definitely beautiful,
one of
but
them,
it's
yeah.
not the only.
I see.
And Disc Golf area too is very nice. And the thing, what makes it even more interesting is, in the Western region, you have the beach. Oftentimes, you have the beach and some coconut trees, right?
Yeah.
That's it. But then you will find the beach. Then there's a river.
Yeah.
And then there is a small forest or bush.
Oh, wow,
around.
all together?
Yes.
So there's beach.
Around.
Yeah.
So like a
So-
mangrove thing.
A mangrove thing going on. So it
Amazing.
makes it very interesting, very, very
And
interesting.
you remember that I mentioned that the number of rivers that
That
enter
enters the
the
sea.
sea there create that, and the communities tend to gather or create
Around
the towns,
that.
yeah,
The
congregate
qualis around that.
around those types of estuaries and lagoons and so on and so forth. So there are places where you can go to the village and actually get a canoe ride through the lagoon, through the mangroves. You see monkeys, you see birds. If you're lucky, maybe a crocodile or two here and there. You can. There are so many
It's
different things.
authentic.
And I think one of the key features of the Ankasa Game Reserve is the Bamboo Cathedral.
The Bamboo Cathedral.
Yeah, the Bamboo Cathedral, where you have
Is it a literal cathedral?
pretty much. I mean, if a cathedral were to occur naturally.
Oh, it's. Oh, sorry. So it's not somebody building a cathedral.
No.
No.
It's the bamboo
That has
growth
formed.
that
That has
has
become-
formed what looks like a cathedral.
No kidding.
No kidding. I mean, the high vaulted ceilings, because you know how bamboo grows and
So
it makes
it sort of intertwines at the top.
at the top.
Really?
At the top, and then when the leaves fall, so it's almost as though you have this ceiling thing, and then the leaves are also forming a carpet on
That
the
must be heaven
ground.
for
Brown,
photographers.
right, yes.
Oh.
I'm sure you took like a million shots.
and it contrasts with all the greens, and you have all
The
brown on the floor
Carpeting,
set.
yeah.
Do you guys go in groups of 10, 20, 10? Or what do you advise? If you want to, I don't know, is there a best practice? Like 6 people, 20 people, go alone, go with your spouse?
Yeah.
What-
It depends on your aim. I mean, but if you just want to have fun and discover the country, I would say go with friends or go with people you are comfortable with. Because you going alone is one thing, you get the pictures, but then if you share it with people, I find that tourism is just it's not for one person. You have to share it. That's why we take pictures and we share it on social.
Did you do mole? Have you ever done mole, guys?
I haven't done it.
Haven't done
but
mole
yes,
yet.
I have done mole several times.
Is it as good as hype?
Oh, it is.
It is.
definitely.
It's probably better than.
Oh, you
than hype.
know, serious.
No, seriously. I mean,
I'm
mole
looking
is,
to doing
is-
it.
Mole is
amazing.
serious.
Seriously. I mean, imagine you for example, I mean, my favorite place, Zena Lodge. You can wake up in the morning, come out of your tent, and there's an elephant wandering, right outside your.
This
your
is like
door.
Kenya stuff.
Yeah, I mean, no, mole is great.
We're
Which is
advised to
great.
go at dawn for the elephants because apparently if you got there after 7 you wouldn't see them. So if you want to see the elephants you have to go like 5:30, 6ish. I don't know. It depends.
They come out, I don't
iffy. I don't think it's a hard and fast rule, because what my experience has been that sometimes you can do the safari drive and you won't see a single animal. It happens, which is one of the reasons why it's better to do it in the dry season, because there's less foliage for them to hide. So when they are around, you can more easily see them. But they also come out. When they come out, they come in their numbers.
Amazing.
I mean, they
We'll
do.
leave it here for now. This is the Heritage Month on Air series. I've been talking to Steve Ababio and Gina Arthur, just whetting your appetite for travel. This was the western leg of the conversation, central, western, BA, upper west, and all of that. We'll come back again later and talk about another leg of the travel. Hope you're enjoying the Heritage Month. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.